This is a strange little pull toy that I got from Barbara Morey. It was a gift. It's called the Debug, and this was manufactured by a fellow named Herbert Schwartz in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, around 1950. It's been hard to find the references for it. Late 40s, early 50s. And it's a little pull toy. It's made out of resin, molded resin. This is in perfect condition. It's never been played with. It's got his name stamped inside. It's got rubber wheels in the front. This one in the back makes the back end go up and down. This one makes the antennas go up and down. It's got a red string just with a little piece of drilled dowel. And I guess this fellow just made these and marketed them all himself. So anyway, here's what it looks like. Little antennas go up and down. It's kind of cute. It's not particularly valuable. I see them for sale on eBay for about $30, something like that, with the box intact. Antennas are sticking. There we go. A cute little toy. It looks like a cicada. Obviously, it's modeled after a cicada, roughly so. This is a Japanese-made wind-up tin toy from about the 50s. The originals of this design were made in Germany in the turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s. And this was a gift from my friend Jenny. It's a wind-up toy, so we'll wind it up. It actually works very well. Okay, see what happens. I'm going to try that one more time. It's actually kind of cute. Okay, there we go. Ah! Yeah, it's cute. This is a vintage tin toy motorcycle. This belonged to my grandfather. At least I remember playing with it at my grandfather's house back in the 60s. Apparently it's from, as best I can tell, late 30s, maybe early 40s, but you know, in the early 40s when we got into the war and then things weren't being produced like this. So I'm probably guessing mid to late 30s. It still works just fine. I'll wind it up. This is supposed to be some kind of a siren, so I think it was supposed to make a noise. But I haven't really heard it do that, so let's just see what it does here. Oh yeah, you can hear it a little bit. Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, this thing, when it spins around, I guess it makes a little bit of a noise. It's funny, it's got a rubber wheel on one side and a wooden wheel on the other. And I've looked them up, that's just the way it was designed. I'm not sure what that's about, maybe because this one slides as it goes around in a circle. But it's all there. And then to turn it off and on, here, I'll show you. There's like a little shift in here. You can wind it up and it's off, and you push this little lever forward. Yeah, I guess that's the siren. I guess this kind of sounds like a siren. And this, I think, is probably my most valuable toy. The Two-Night Knockout Champs. It's made by Marx. This is mid-30s. And this was my father's toy. And the story was that he liked to take things apart. And so I think I inherited that from him. And his parents bought him this toy on the condition that he not ever take it apart, which he never did. And so it still is in good working condition. This one has a little, let's see, where is it? There's a little shut-off lever here. Oh, it's wound up. I shouldn't have left it wound up like that. And then see, this one hung his arm up on the rope. So I guess that's how he loses. Yeah, he's hung up again. Oh, it's hung up again. It's such a strange little thing, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to imagine now with all the electronic toys and things that we have that people could be amused by something like this, that kids could be amused by something like this, but you know, that's just the way it was. Check out the wonderful graphics on that, the clothing styles. Mr. Swell here, and then over here is a guy getting ready to ring the bell. He's watching his timing the round. Yeah, it's great. This is a toy that I got when I was maybe 5 years old, 1965. It has a copyright patent number here, 1962. This was called Bop Bop the Beetle, which was a strange concept for a toy. I remember as a kid being so infatuated with frogs. I just thought they were the most amazing things. I was obsessed. And interestingly, recently I just heard that David Attenborough, the British naturalist David Attenborough, was also fascinated with frogs. And the way this toy worked was you had two of these little plastic beetles, an orange one and a blue one. And the kit came with two little plastic orange bats that you hit the beetle with on the edge. And the point of the game was to flip it up into this open frog's mouth. This is broken now, thanks to my little brother, but you could hold it open like a trap. With this little lever was the catch. And so the players take turns hitting this beetle, and if you could hit it in the right way and flip it into the trap, it would close up on it. And that was it. But I was just fascinated with that. I have this vivid memory of being in a store and seeing this in a box on the shelf, and I was just overcome. And I could tell that my mom was resistant to buy it for me. I don't know why. Maybe she thought it was cheap, or it was stupid, or I wasn't going to enjoy it. But I just remember I didn't have a tantrum, but I just really tried to convince her that I would definitely play with it, and she bought it for me. And then I also remember, after getting it home and playing with it, her being very pleased with how much I was enjoying it. So even though this is an old broken toy, it has a lot of really great memories for me. One of my very favorite vintage toys is something called a Thingmaker. We also called them creepy crawlers, and it consisted of a hot plate, which you can imagine that now, and then these molds where they had bugs and frogs and things, and you would fill these with this liquid. It was called plastic goop. This is a reissue. Maybe about 10 years ago they came back out with this, a safer version of the hot plate, and they reissued the plastic goop. And so I bought some of it, different colors, and you would put this in the mold and then heat it. You had a wire thing to hold it like this, and you put it in the heater, and it would harden the plastic. And then you had these little features. You make your own little plastic toys. And I had a lot of fun with this. These are ones that I just made in the newer version after I got this goop. And I have some fun memories of this. I had this little red lobster like this, and I remember my first day of first grade at a Catholic school. They took us to the convent. It was on the site of the school, just so we could see where the nuns lived, because they were kind of weird looking, these women all dressed in black and white, and they were trying to demystify that for us. And the nuns had a goldfish bowl in their convent, and when no one was looking, I dropped one of these into the goldfish bowl. And I remember the next day, one of the nuns came and said, "Oh, we got your little surprise, thank you." They were actually very amused by that. So, but the other thing that connected to this is I got this in 1965, and just was thrilled to have it. Had a lot of fun with it. And my mother passed away in 1966 when I was 6 years old, and I found in her purse, going through my dad's estate, this is her purse just as she had it when she passed away. In her purse I found a lizard, the creepy crawler lizard, which fits into this mold. There we go. So she was carrying that around in her purse, which I thought was really delightful. And finally, my last vintage toy is actually a dog toy. I worked at a pet shop in Albuquerque, Clark's Pet Emporium, and we got these in. This is a rubber chew bone in the likeness of Ronald Reagan. And it was pretty funny because the owner of the store, Aaron Clark, he was a great guy, really. I had a great time working there. But he was Republican and he was a Reagan supporter, and yet he ordered these because he thought they were funny, and I did too. And so I got one, and it's quite a good likeness, actually. A little bit exaggerated with the wrinkles, but this one's actually gotten very hard now. It was originally squeaky toy latex, and I have seen a couple of these for sale on eBay, which is pretty funny. But I just thought that's a historical piece worth saving. Well, there you go again.